Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone. Today with my new friend, Peg Donahue. You don't
That's,
have your name spelled right on your thing. It's Donahue, right?
did I do that?
I didn't.
Oh my goodness, it is Donahue.
Well,
Wow, wow.
that's okay. So I am so excited. We had to change our schedule a couple times to get Peg on, but I am so excited because they sent me this fabulous book that I'm going to probably give everyone for every holiday and every Christmas and every birthday, because this is like the encyclopedia of law of attraction and energy and money. So, Peg,
Well,
how
thank you, Kathy. That's a great introduction there for the book.
oh my God,
Wow.
fabulous. And so I couldn't wait to meet you. And hopefully someday I'll get to meet Madeline too.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
but tell me, how did this all come about? How did you, I mean, this is a work of love. This is a
It is. This
300 pages, guys.
and this book took Madeline and I about 7 years to put together. We met in, I would say, early 2000. We were both taking prosperity classes and law of attraction classes and just delving deep into how things happen, how things work. So we met actually in teleclasses of all things, long before
Yeah.
Facebook and all that. And then we connected, and we ended up putting together programs ourselves. So we put together 3 programs: 8 Keys to the Ultimately Prosperous Business. Then we went on, it was actually at the request of one of our students, we put together a program called Conscious Language. And then we put a 3rd program together called Take an Energy Inventory for Prosperity. So all of our work together, our collaborative work, has been based on building prosperity or cultivating prosperity. So then, after several years of teaching these programs over the telephone, we decided we wanted to take it to a larger audience. So we decided to put it together in a book. And that Money is the Energy Game is a result of that. And as I said, that took us about 7 years to put together, because I was running my business, Feng Shui Connections. Madeline was running her business, Polaris Business Guides. I'm a Feng Shui practitioner. She's a business astrologer and economic astrologer. And so we collaborated on all these topics and realized that we really have a passion for how things happen and consciousness and manifesting, and really helping people cultivate the tools for living a good life, because we all have that ability to do.
Exactly. Well, this is so interesting because this is an empowerment
That's
tool.
exactly what it is.
And that's what I feel that we lost our rudder, our guide. I mean, you can listen to pieces of it through Esther Hicks. You can read books, and Joe Dispenza is now talking about the brain and quantum physics and
Oh,
everything. And all of the ancients talked about things. My dually says thoughts are things. You know, you can go on and be a seeker your whole life.
absolutely.
Or
Oh, I am, and you probably are too.
yeah, but this is a way to find. So
Absolutely.
so
And we drew on a number of resources, and we have all of those well documented in the book. We compiled over 100 tools, tips, and techniques to help everybody, and we feel that there's something in there for everybody
yes,
to play with, to practice.
I would love it if there were book reading circles where you could do this in a group, like even if it was virtual like this.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes.
Go chapter, like everybody read the chapter.
That's a great idea, because Madeline and I have really been tossing around some ideas of inviting people into a group to discuss, the application of
Exactly.
what you're learning, the practice. Have a practice group where you just come in and say, "Hey, I've been doing this, but I'm not quite sure about, if I'm doing it right or how I could do it better," and then just to explore
Well,
the principles.
Yeah, I think in so much of this, if you're connected to your higher knowing, a lot of times you just need validation. You need someone to say, "Yeah, I got that. We'll let's see something else, or it reflects something back to you." Because a lot of times when you do things by yourself, you aren't sure you got it.
That's right. And there's a whole world out there. None of us have to do this by ourselves at all. There's a whole support system, and it's really fun to tap into that.
Well, so this whole process, how do you recommend using the book? Because each chapter could, I mean, this is probably 3 books.
It is. It is. That's why it took us 7 years to put it together. Because it turns out we're both Virgos, and we have a penchant. You too. And we love details, and we love getting it right. And as we were writing, the world was changing really rapidly, and business was changing. And businesses that we cited in the book and examples, we had to keep going back and making sure it was accurate and up to date.
Right.
Because things have changed so fast. And Madeline, as a economic astrologer, she writes about how we are halfway through right now a 40-year economic shift. So when we started collaborating in 2000, we were at the very beginning of this. And now here we are, we're 20 years into it, and it's continuing. Yes.
So, that's just so fantastic. So a couple of questions. So how do you recommend people use this to get the best?
Yep. Okay, I recommend that you really just start at the beginning and focus on your beliefs, what it is, the stories that you grew up with. What did your parents say? What did your grandparents say? What are the beliefs that you hold about prosperity, about money? Is it easy? Is it easy to come by? Is it hard to come by? Do you have to work hard for your money? Is it a struggle all the time? Really just recognize those. Mm-hmm. And then early on in the book, in chapter 2, we talk about releasing your blocks to success. And so one of the services I provide is emotional freedom and healing tapping sessions. And so we have a link in the book to it's about a 45-minute recording for releasing blockages. And so if you have your book, take a look at it and we can find out. I'll tell you.
I have a bookmark in that.
Oh, you do have a bookmark in it. Okay. So you can go online, and just type that into your browser, and you'll come to the recording for the emotional freedom and healing tapping session.
Yeah, I actually love tapping, and I saw this list of affirmations, and I thought, oh well, maybe we could do a tapping thing today, so people could see how it's working. Because if people aren't familiar with it, I think a lot of my audience will know parts of what's in here, but the way that you present it so it's more usable is what I'm really grateful for, the synchronicity that we met and that I have this book, because I spend time with someone who is really into the law of attraction. He's like a master thesis of Esther Hicks.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so my language isn't always prosperity language. And so I get corrected.
Okay. But it is as it is. And one thing about the law of attraction is it's always working. It's always working. So you're always attracting what it is you're putting out. You're creating or attracting to your last thought, the energy, all around you that you're holding in your body. And so you get to play with it every day. And if you don't like what's showing up, you can change that.
Right.
You can shift it.
Right.
And so that's one thing about the tapping that it does. It helps to release the hold of these energies in your body. And Bruce Lipton did a lot of work about this in Biology of Belief. So that's one of the things that we write about in the book, how your beliefs are encoded in your body. So it goes well beyond your mind. In fact, heart math, they did the work that it says, the energy of your heart is much stronger than your brain. The energy of your heart drives what's in your brain. But it's also, so your feelings are what's driving in your heart. Your heart's what's driving your brain. And so we spend a lot of time in our heads, right? Focused on what's there. But the challenge is to begin with your feelings and begin with your beliefs. And if they're ones, they're always serving us. But if you don't like the way that they're serving you, if you don't like what's showing up, decide what it is you want. In my work, I find a lot of people really don't know what they want, because they'll tell me what they want, but they'll go through, well, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that. And I'll listen, and then I'll say, okay, well, what do you want? Well, I just told you. I said, no, you told me what you don't want.
Right.
And that right there is a big wake-up call. Oh my gosh, you're right. That's what I don't want. And so whatever you're focused on, that shows up. So if you're focused on what you don't want, you're empowering that. You're going to get more of that.
Right.
And so the conscious language part of this, and then we have 2 chapters in it, is being aware of your language. And just play with it, just practice. It doesn't have to be anything heavy or, penalizing or anything. And your family, I think our families are our greatest teachers. They often show us what not to do. And so you can learn from that. Yeah, and learn from your friends and people around you, learn from media, what's out there, what's going on. There is, I like to talk about the Good News Network. It's been out there for over 20 years. And so it's just, and it's online. You can get a dose of good news every day, good news stories. And I get that coming into my mailbox every day. And I love listening or actually tapping into, the headlines and reading the stories about, wonderful things that people are doing all over the world.
Right.
Because in the mainstream media, that's given scant attention.
Right.
It's there's more and more focus on it, but still the majority of focus is on the negative, on what's gone wrong. And whoever decided that that's the news, that's what I'd like to know. It'd be much more fun to focus on what's going well and to put more of that out, because then we'll grow that. We'll have more of those experiences.
Of course. Well, I think that what's happening is that there's what you've done is you've created a very practical guide.
Yes.
And a lot of the people that I work with do energy work, so they're not as this is very grounded work, whereas a lot of the people that I work with, they feel and then they explain what they see through their third eye. You must also have that capacity to do what you do with Feng Shui. You must feel energy.
Yes.
So did you incorporate any of that energy into this book?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there's a whole chapter in here on Feng Shui, and it is focused on Feng Shui for your office, but we also have information about Feng Shui for your home, because your office, and these days, particularly over the last year, many people are working from home.
I am.
Working in home offices. And so the principle behind Feng Shui is that your space, say your home, your workspace, wherever you are, the energy in it is a reflection of your inner self.
Yeah.
No, you're bad. Your office actually looks beautiful. It looks spacious.
Sure. Yeah. Well, what I found is I had an absolutely beautiful office that I had Feng Shui'd. I had a genius woman do it and painted it the color. I mean, she picked the colors, and we had everything just so. And then when COVID hit, I had to I had three rooms.
Okay.
I had to go because no one was going to come to my office, and I was almost at a certain point. I was like, I'm not sure I should be out either. So and my house already had a lot of cool stuff in it. And then I got all 3 rooms. I sold a lot of the furniture.
Okay.
I had crystals and beautiful sculptures and paintings, and
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been over a year. I have no excuse now.
Okay. Well, so do you like your space now? Do you like how you've created it?
Yeah, although there's still too much clutter.
Okay.
It's still distracting.
Yes, and that's what clutter does. So clutter is anything that you don't use or you don't love. It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what it does. It bogs us down, it distracts us, it can stop us in our tracks.
Okay.
And so it's best to have your things organized, to give everything a home, but only store the things that you use or the things that you really love.
Well, I think I have emotional attachment to some of the things. Like, I owned a clothing store for 16 years,
Oh,
and so some of the clothes I don't know if I'll ever wear them again, but they mean something.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but and they're like beautiful. So it's in fact, one of my girlfriends came over years ago, took it all and put it all in a bag, and I snuck it back out.
Oh, you did that. That is so funny. So what happens is all of your emotions get encoded in all of your possessions. So they're in your clothes, they're in your house, they're in every room. I say, we hear, boy, if the walls could talk, they would have stories to tell, because all of the events, the energy of all the events that have taken place in that space, say in your home, it's there. It compiles until you change it, until you repaint it, take out the carpet, put a new roof on, put new windows in, that sort of thing. So like old homes, and I live, I'm in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. I'm in an old home. The bulk of our home was built in 1890.
Cool.
Yeah, it's an old house, and my husband and I downsized 4 years ago. So I did actually let go of, release a lot of things that I really, really loved, because I knew consciously we were moving into a smaller space, and so that we would have more experiences, and rather than maintaining space, we could go out and travel and have different experiences. So that was our intention behind that, and I don't miss any of it. I really don't. I had things that I loved, but I passed them on. I let them go. Not so much throw things away, but pass them on to people who would love them.
Oh,
And then you create a new space, and you have new experiences. And
that's
yeah.
well. I'm finding that I'm actually doing stuff, and then I'm testing. I'm
Good.
think kinesiology is like yes, no, because I don't. It's overwhelming.
Okay, so that's a great place to start. So knowing that it's overwhelming. So one thing that you might do is just start with your desk and create a nice clear desktop where you have space to work. So if you have a lot of extra things on there, just clear it off. When I had a business career, a corporate career for over 21 years, and periodically what I would do, I would just take my desktop and clear the whole thing off. I would take all my periodicals and reading. I would just put them in the trash. I would
Yeah.
physically clear it off, wash it down. I often brought in fresh flowers for myself to have in there. And it wasn't until I left that career, and my intention was to take 6 months off and get a rest, and then just get another job. Well, it's been over 21 years. And as I discovered Feng Shui, well, I discovered Feng Shui still while I was in my corporate days, and then I decided to study it. And all of a sudden, I had a language for a lot of the things that I was doing intuitively.
Oh,
And just felt, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world out there. So I just dove deep into it, and then that led me along the way to the tapping work I do, to the space clearing work I do, to personal clearings. It was all of my clients that had me keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, meeting Madeline and collaborating on energy. So everything is energy, and that's really what this book is about, how everything is energy, including your money. And so if you think of money as energy, it can be fun and freeing. It does not have to be restrictive.
right.
And
Right. Well,
yeah.
this is the empowerment manual that I want everyone to go to moneyisanenergygame.com, because if there are other books like Breaking Loose of the Money Game, there's so many books, but not a book like this, because this allows you to go step by step through and look at each one of your thoughts and decide if you want to keep them. Because just because you grew up with this money mindset, let's say,
Right.
doesn't mean that we need to keep it. And we're in a huge time of change.
We
Uh,
sure are.
this is the time that I think we all stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now. And so why not use the laws in a proper way to help others? Because the more money you have, the more freedom you have to do what you really came here to do and fulfill your soul mission.
And that's exactly right. And you can only give away to others what you have cultivated within yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge to help others if you're in poverty. So you can, raise up, be
Right.
prosperous, decide that you're going to be prosperous, and then help others from a spot of high energy.
Right. And I think that people are, this whole time period has really given people a chance to look at themselves.
It sure has.
And especially if they were commuting and then they don't have those hour commutes, and they get a chance to really meditate in the morning or really do a hobby. And,
Hmm.
and so you all of a sudden have a way to not have the same excuses you had. But we were busy, 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 busy. I mean, I still am busy, but we were over the top busy and distracted.
Right. Right. And one of my pet peeves is license plates. And in the town I used to live in, there was somebody that had a license plate, "I'm too busy." And I thought, oh my gosh, if they only knew, were aware of what they were carrying around every day and that message, because this person, this family, they were always busy. Another one was, "I'm asleep." People put these on thinking, that they're funny or whatever. But I understand what those messages are. And it's like, wow, that, this is, it's time to be aware of the words we use, the words we carry, be very conscious about it. And
Well, I think a lot of us were trained that it's to not boast and to make fun of ourselves was a
yeah,
way to communicate, rather than standing in your power. It's actually I thought it was a courtesy to have you be more powerful than me, rather than, you know what I mean? So
that's exactly right. Instead, and I'm so glad you brought up about standing in your own power. So, and that's a lot of the work I do with people is helping people empower themselves, work from your strength, work from your own power, because that's really what brings joy. And that's how you live an authentic life, is stepping into your own power.
So what do you feel is the biggest change that this book will do for people?
I think the biggest change is putting people in charge of themselves.
Good.
Yeah, realizing that each one of us has the power to live the life we want. And so first you have to believe it. Second, I would say, is release those restrictions on yourself. Recognize the beliefs that you carry and change them. Let them go. But you can do it in easy ways. You can begin with the stories that you tell. Watch those words come out of your mouth. Pay attention to what you agree with other people. And, sometimes, people will gather and somebody will have a story and, oh my gosh, well, that happened to me too. Right. And then a third person comes in and they keep embellishing it and growing actually the essence of what they don't want.
Right, right, right.
Instead, put out the story the way you want it to be told. So you can change the ending to the story. And this is not, about lying or saying untruths or anything, but it's a way of expressing yourself in terms of what it is you want to have and do or be or experience.
Well, it's resonance, basically. The law of attraction and the this laws that you're using in every piece of this
Yes.
is based on resonance. And when you are not authentically you, you're discordant. Your energy.
That's right. That's right.
So could you talk a little bit about that of getting aligned to your authentic essence?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. So first, just recognize what it is. And if you're not sure, what I would say is take a piece of paper, just fold it in half lengthwise, and just start writing down your beliefs or whatever's there. Just like a core dump. And it can be starting off with, I don't want this, I don't want that, or whatever. But then on the right side, you can use that to change. Well, it might be, I'm tired, or I don't like my job. Well, what type of work would you like to do? What would make you happy? Under what circumstances? Or your home, you feel like, oh my gosh, my home needs a lot of changes. I'll never have it be feng shui perfect. And I'll tell you, like, there is no feng shui perfect. Feng shui is just energy in motion. So it's always working towards maybe something better, or really good flowing chi. That's what you want. It's really good flowing energy through your space and through your life. So if you're feeling like you are worn out or bogged down, then I want to have more free time. I want to have I want to have time to go to go hiking, to go swimming, to go kayaking. So you just put all of those down on a list of paper, on a sheet of paper, and begin to make some choices for yourself. And then pay attention to the stories that you are telling other people. And a story is just a little episode, say, of your life. So put it out the way you want it to be told. And you can change the endings. Journaling is a great way to do this. So you can do this in private. Just get a book, a nice new book that you like. You like the feel of the cover, the texture of the paper. Just start writing down what you'd love to be, to do, or to have. And more importantly, write down why.
Perfect. Okay.
Why is it that you'd want to bring something like that into your life? Write down the essence, because that's what you're after. You're after the essence. It's not so much, that you, it's about bringing money in. Whoever decided these stacks of green paper and these piles of metal would have so much power and influence in our lives. It's the essence of what they can deliver, the result of what they can deliver that we're really after. But you can have some of these experiences without having to earn everything also. It can come to you as a gift. You might win it. You might get a great discount on something. So all sorts of different ways that prosperous situations can come to you. And so really pay attention to that. So first you have to be clear about what you want. And so that's where I think the journaling and the writing down exercises really help. Then you have to, well, you don't have to do anything, but take inspired action. Put some things in action for yourself. So you might do some research, whether it's a new job that you want, or a different job, a different line of work, or you'd like to travel. Do some research on it and begin to explore those experiences. You want to get out of your own way when it comes to figuring out every little detail of how something's going to happen. That's not your job. That's a job for the universe to do.
Perfect.
So focus on the end result. So you decide what it is you want to have, you take some inspired action, and you put your energy into having that final result. And then let the powers that be come together and do all of that in between work. And that's what we try to focus you on in Money is an Energy Game through it's creating with trust. Really trusting that you're going to be okay. You might be going through a tough time now or some challenges and all that, but hold your focus on the end result. Watch successful people, study successful people, study how their habits as well. I have always believed in studying successful people. And it sometimes it feels magical. It's like, wow. And then soon enough, you'll start to have some of those experiences. Yeah, help other people as well. So give to others. Be very generous, because the more you give, the more comes back to you, and it comes back in ways that you don't even anticipate.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I've got a question real quick with that
sure.
receiving. So
Okay.
the blocks that I see with people, some of the people I work with, is more towards receiving. And do you have a suggestion about that?
Well, one is to be open to receiving. A common habit, and I find this with women in particular. Somebody will give you something. Oh, no, no, no! Don't, you shouldn't have done that. That is often a common response, and I say, just say thank you, accept it graciously, and say thank you.
Well,
So
yeah, but see, I think
practice receiving.
that's our training. I mean, we're nurturers, and
Yes,
as our role in a family, we're mothers, we're daughters, we're whatever. But we're taught. I was taught it was selfish. Don't
right.
be selfish. Do you think you're the only one here? That kind of.
Right. So that's a belief. So that's a belief that we grew up with. So that's one to let go. So you can change that around to, it's good to be selfish in a good way, in a positive way, because you can only give away what you have cultivated within yourself. So cultivate generosity, cultivate gratitude, cultivate being grateful for others. So receive. So there's an art of receiving. Receive graciously, and then give to others in turn.
That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
But and I do think that that is something that a lot of women struggle with. I don't know that men do, but
Right.
this is a time of where we're getting more balanced with the divine
Yes.
feminine and divine masculine, and that's one of the ways that the divine feminine or the current feminine model is at a balance.
That's exactly right. And we talk about that in the chapter on spirituality, on the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And this is the age of femininity, and to practice those skills. So yeah,
Well,
generosity and grace, and yeah.
Well, and the thing that honestly, this is like an encyclopedia. Even if you only did three things out of this whole book, you probably could improve your life remarkably. Um, and that's that's what I want everyone to know, is that honestly, for Christmas and every holiday you may be getting.
Oh, thank you. And we focused on making it easy for people.
Yes.
So at the back of the book, we have a list of over 100 tools, tips, and techniques that we talk about in the book. We have an extensive resource section in the appendix. I contributed my daily focus sheet. This is when I was in business, I would have page after page after page of to-do lists. Well, that doesn't work. And you spend more time copying those over, and you're never going to get it done. So, and I was often, really overloaded, too busy. So then I decided I'm going to play with this concept of time. I'm going to create more time. I'm going to make my days more expansive, so I accomplish what it is I really want to accomplish. And then I simplified the process, and I incorporated a lot of the techniques that I had been learning into my daily focus sheet. So I have room on there to put 9 items to do. And then, sometimes I sneak a few more in. So that's on the left side. On the right side, I have a section called "I Thank the Universe For." And you know what? The amazing thing was about this, after I had been working with this sheet for a while, one day I noticed that the list that I put on "I Thank the Universe For," those things were happening without me taking action. It was amazing. It still does. It might be a reminder to contact somebody. Well, that person would call me before I needed to take action on it. Or
Okay.
it just gets resolved. And
Right.
so it's like, oh my gosh. So that's a really fun one to work with.
Oh yeah,
Eh,
I'm gonna definitely use this one. And I want to ask about the I am,
oh,
because
sure.
I have a friend, Harrison Klein, who talks about the I am presence. I mean,
Yes.
he uses that a lot. So could you talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So it is focused on being in the now, being present. We're never in the past, we're never in the future, but that's where a lot of our focus goes. We worry. about, what's happened, or we fret about things. Just stay present, be in today. We're always only ever in the now, in today. And it's a wild concept when you think about it, but it's true. So I am. So think about the I ams. I am a good person. I am generous. I am prosperous. I am loving, helping others. Whatever it is you want, you can fit into that I am.
So,
Yeah.
so the way to use this list, on the left hand side is I am. So it's my daily focus, and then on the right is I thank the universe for. But it's only one thing that you're going to say you are that one day, and the 9 things are the.
Oh, you can use it any way you want, but today I write down all my 9 things. Today I snuck in a few other little things on there, but you're among the top of my list. I thank the universe for, I just have a list of things there. Sometimes it's a reminder for me, but then those are the things that get done without me taking action.
Oh,
Then in the middle of it, I have, wow, within 1 week, my intention. So I always put one intention for this week. And then the section at the bottom is I appreciate all of my experiences and the help and support that comes my way. I know that all my experiences are for the highest good. And in particular, I genuinely appreciate. And I put down there, often I'm using that section to give thanks in advance for things that I'm anticipating or things that I would love to have happen. So I use that section. And at the top, I have a reminder. And I fill out one of these every day. I often will print like 20 or 30 at a time. I keep in a folder. I take a new one out every night and write my list. Okay. I just have some reminders. Life comes to me easily. Each day gets better and better. Today I claim a day of heaven on earth for me and everyone with whom I connect. Everything is possible.
I love this.
And then a couple of other reminders to set clear intentions daily. Know that you are exactly where you need to be. Embrace a sense that all is well. Feel and express true joy. Take inspired action. Good things manifest for you. And I know that this or something even better is happening for me. So I packed a lot into this sheet. And I had been using it for years and years, but this is the sheet that got me off sort of a multi-page to-do list.
Oh, I'm definitely going to, because if you saw my list. The other thing I was taught is to use graph paper instead of lined paper.
Uh-huh.
Because Grandmother Parisha, who's a Cherokee elder, taught me that even if I use lined paper, I'm supposed to turn it sideways because the way it affects your brain.
Okay. Okay. So the graph paper works for you.
Yeah. Well, but I guess it's because it allows expansion. It doesn't restrict.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's great. So practice that, and I look at that in sort of that funnel up. You want chi to be expansive,
right?
Versus funneling down.
So I wanted to ask, since you've studied Feng Shui and you have used it in contemporary business environments,
yes,
have you found that there's other ancient teachings like that you pulled into this book or into your processes?
Well, all of Feng Shui is based on the I Ching, and that's spelled I-CHING. So, people often say the I Ching, but it's pronounced the I Ching. So that's the basis of Feng Shui. It's the oldest book of divination. So I actually do, for myself, an I Ching reading every week, every Sunday. I ask one question. What is it that I need to know this week for my highest good? And I post that on my website. I post, the question and the answer. So you get a hexagram and then just a little synopsis about it. So on my website, I have I Ching summary and I Ching weekly message. And so I put that out there because I figure it's a global message. What is it that I need to know this week? This week's message was zenith. So that is very exciting. It was just one one message. Sometimes you'll get two, one for this week and one for the future. This just came up. Zenith means, we're at the peak, a peak of experience. And then it started talking about, the in the text I was reading, the summer solstice, sort of the peak. And I said, oh my gosh, what's at the end? The end of this week is the summer solstice.
Right.
And so I have just learned, with the I Ching that it is, it's very much on target. And so I do I Ching readings for people. If they have a question, and I teach you how to do it. It's very simple, and I find that that's a great resource just to tap into. And the challenge is to just be detached. When we're attached to the outcome, then your energy is influencing it. And I was trained this way in Feng Shui as well, just to be an empty vessel. Right. So that when I'm working with somebody, no preconceptions, just go in and work with them, work with you, based on your intentions. And that's how I'm always working with people. Well, what is it that you'd like to create for yourself? Or what is it that you'd like to be, do, or have? And then if it's Feng Shui, we'll work to bring your space into alignment with that, first by identifying maybe blockages. And so it's not always about having a space be magazine picture perfect. That's not it at all. It's about getting the chi flowing. It's about coming into alignment with what you really want in your life and empowering people. And that's the fun part of it. And it doesn't take actually a lot of money on people's part to do that, to get you moving. And the effects can be very, very profound.
That's fantastic. So I see that as a way to get clarity of and maybe bring more of your soul purpose in as well, because
absolutely
the obstacles are your attention, really.
That's absolutely right. And this is not about minimalization or living in an environment where you have hardly anything around. That's not it at all. It's about you being in tune with yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then you bring your space into alignment with you as well, because your space is a reflection of yourself, and that's a fun part of it. So you don't even have to do anything in the book, right? If you just give attention to your space, because eventually, I say you either work from the outside, which is your home or your office or whatever, and make changes there, and that will lead you to change on the inside. Or you start on the inside, things that you want for yourself, and start with your beliefs and shedding beliefs that don't work for you anymore.
Right.
And eventually you will work on the outside with your environment and your space. It's all connected.
Well, I really think that this whole time period has been the inside job. I mean, yes. I really see when I first closed down my office and was working from my home, I realized my self-talk was terrible.
Ooh.
Like I sat there and I said, did I just say that to myself?
Well, yeah, there you were. So you were recognizing, but the beauty is that you were recognizing it.
Right.
And so once it shows up and it registers, you have a choice at that point.
Right.
And so don't beat yourself up about anything in the past, but you make the choice to go forward with how you want to shift or to change or remind us. And I said, just listen to the people all around us. I grew up in a large family, family of 9 kids, 11 people.
Oh my God. What number are you?
I am number 6.
Oh my, I'm number 4 out of 5.
There you go. There you go. And so I look at my family, and I think most families are a microcosm of the world. You don't have to go outside. Just work with your family, and you will have lots of training and lots of experiences right there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So I have a question for you about trust, because we're talking about empowering ourselves to have what we really want and co-creating with the universe at a high level.
Yes.
The part of this that we haven't talked about is how do you stay in not the desire or the craving of it, which will push it away. How do you make your intention or your request and then hang?
Okay, sure. That's a great question. So it's usually fear that's holding us back, and you might use the words, I trust it's going to happen, but inside you're gripped with fear. Or a core belief could be, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. So pay attention to that self-talk. And so that's where the release work comes in. It's really, really important to be honest with yourself, be gentle with yourself, and just let that go. That's where the tapping work can help. And then maybe other, there are other modalities that can help with this as well. So do your release work, journal, let it out, change the story. You could write down, sort of your story, and then just, in a safe place, light it on fire and let it go into the ethers.
Yeah.
You can picture it going up into a balloon. So you send it away, or you can visualize in a meditation. You can call all of this up, and you can just send it off into an energy balloon and let it go away into the ethers, whatever. So it's recognizing it and releasing it, letting that go. And then so trust, knowing that that you are okay, and that everything's going to be okay, and that if it's not this, something else, something even better may come to take its place. Like when several years ago, when my daughter was in college, I've been doing Feng Shui connections for 21 years, and along the way, I had a Feng Shui school for 7 years, and I collaborated with other people and practitioners. I worked with Karen Kelly and Living Energy for a number of years. I also taught at Southern New Hampshire University for a few years, and part of the program was I got into a very cool program when they were trying to decide if they wanted to hire adjuncts full time. And so then for 15 months, I was in this test program, and that was awesome. And then it dissolved.
Oh.
And I loved it. But I also knew at the time, I had been working, doing it full time. I'd been on the computer 60 hours a week. And when I'm teaching and all that, I put my heart and soul into it. And so it was, I can't do, a half job. So it was a lot of work. And I was also realizing this is not for the future. I cannot maintain my health and well-being and be on a computer 60 hours a week. And so the job dissolved. And my daughter was also going into senior year of college. And it's like, oh boy. And so then it was like, okay, just trust everything will be okay. And what we ended up doing was writing a letter to her university. And we got one back and said, she's going to graduate, and don't worry. And she got a fabulous package that year that helped. So it was amazing.
Oh,
It was
wow.
amazing. Yeah. So things come together when we open up our energy fields and trust. And, a similar thing, things happen in patterns as well. A very similar experience. I put myself through college, many, many years ago. And sophomore year, I was going to leave because of money. I was just overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I don't know how, I'm going to pay for this. I can't work any harder.
Yeah.
And I just can't pull it together. And I happened to be working in the financial aid office at the time. And I told my boss, she literally marched me up to the dean's office. And on the way, I said, all right, just, observe. Here I was like, 19, 20 years old. Just observe and notice what happens, and, just keep your mouth shut. And I did. And then magically they, redid my loans and gave me more favorable loans. They found some scholarship money, and it all came together. And I told myself, okay, if they come up with enough money and a means for me to come back, I'll stay. And then shortly after that, I also got a call from somebody. I did a lot of babysitting in this particular community to be a nanny, for a family of 5 kids, for a year. So there was my room and board. I wasn't thinking about, I grew up in 9 kids, right? And so I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot of work taking care of 5 kids. It was like me. I was like, my gosh, my room and board is covered. And so that's how things happen. They, be open to the experience, and that somehow things will work out.
So the tapping would help you release the fear. What about forgiveness? A lot of people talk about forgiveness, or the Course in Miracles, or all of that. Do you?
Yes, I do that. I love the Course in Miracles, and I still remember, at the very beginning of the Course in Miracles, none of this is real.
Right.
And I carry that with me, particularly when you're in crazy situations. It just pops into my head. None of this is real. Oh yeah, thank you for the reminder. Think of it. I think of the world as it's one big stage, one big drama, and we're all little dots out there.
Yeah,
None of this is real. So forgiveness is key, and forgiveness is about forgiving yourself.
exactly.
It's not about anybody else or what anybody did to you. It's about forgiving yourself. It's forgiving the hold that you have on yourself. It's letting go. It's freeing your own energy up.
Right, right,
Because we're not in charge of anybody else, and we never know what anybody else is really going through. So the forgiveness is forgiving yourself.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the other part of what's happened with the lockdowns is we were put together with our families in close quarters where
Sure.
you couldn't ignore everything.
Right.
And you
Right.
had to look at, is this mine or theirs, and how it's my trigger if they're affecting me, and do I just stay away from them or do I deal with it, right?
That's right. Then I'm so glad you brought that up because it actually is your trigger. People bump up us against ourselves all the time. And so if a button is pushed, it's about you. It's not about them. So recognize that, and then you deal with it yourself. And forgiveness is usually is a big, big part of that.
Right, right. Well, and again, the opportunity is to be empowered, to not be a victim of anything. And I think that our culture up until now has been highly structured like a victimization. They did that.
Yes.
It's not just projecting. It's about not feeling empowered.
That's exactly right. So the challenge is to take control and empower yourself. Be in charge of your own energy and your own self. Be in charge of, and you are anyways, of your thoughts, your words, your deeds,
Right.
and be the best person that you can every day. Every day, be a little bit better than yesterday,
Perfect.
so to speak. Yeah, and we all have ups and downs. So there's a trigger point, a tipping point. Not there are trigger points, but as a tipping point, the tipping point is 3 to 1. To have 3 times as many positive experiences as negative ones. So you find yourself, in the doldrums, you're having negative thoughts, or you're worried. That's okay, and the thing is, you recognize that. You're aware of that. So then. Pick yourself up and go have at least 3 times as many positive experiences. Start maybe by calling a friend or do something good for somebody else. And yeah,
Yeah.
you could do some meditation, do some journaling.
Yes, and I think that's what this book has so many great ideas. Again, I feel like Vanna White here, but but and look at you guys, it's over 300 pages long. I mean, this could take you 6 months to go.
Yes, to work through. And one thing in here in section 3 of the book, we call it take an energy inventory. So this would be a good place to start for somebody. Just spend a week on sleep, and you don't have to do anything other than jot down. You print out the worksheet, you jot down, when you go to bed, when you wake up, how you felt. You just take notes. So you just observe and figure, identify your patterns. There's a week on food. It's not about dieting. There's no judgment. You just write down what you ate and when and how you felt. There's a week on exercise. So, just focus on what kind of movement are you getting during the day and how do you feel? So the challenge is to connect what's happening in your life with how you're feeling. Take it back to yourself. So week on thoughts, paying attention to those rants that might be going through your head or your self-talk, and no judgment. You just notice it and notice how you feel. Or you can play with changing the end of a conversation to make it more uplifting and leaving on a good note rather than on a sour note.
Right.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is really being observant and present. And
Yeah.
that's actually a lifelong goal, is to be fully present in every moment, because they're really quantum physics and some of the information coming out now shows that there may not be any time except in third dimension. So as we bring more and more energy, and we may be in a position to when you're fully present, to experience and release blocks that you've had all along the timeline.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so that you can really live your best life. And this actually, so we did pack a lot into the book.
Yeah.
You can sit down and read it from cover to cover, but you don't have to. Just pick up a piece or go to the section on release. Write. We include a contract. Write your own contract with yourself. What is it that you want? So I think it's most important for people to really identify, what is it that I really want? And that can change over time. You could start today, and then as you progress through the book and through the material, you might come back to your contract and say, oh my gosh, I have learned so much. I'm ready to write a different contract or a different agreement now that I know. And same thing with journaling. Just start, where it's comfortable for you. And make it fun. That's the whole thing too. Bring some levity to it and bring some fun into it. And then pay attention and notice what happens. So connect the dots between what you're doing and what shows up in your life.
Well, I think this is why you're calling your book Money is an Energy Game, rather
Yes.
is that come on, guys, we're supposed to be here to have fun. We don't have to wait till we die to go to heaven. We can play here.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's what Maureen St. Germain writes about is, the fifth dimension is heaven on earth. So, today I claim a day of heaven on earth for myself.
Yay.
And my husband, my daughter, you can claim it for everybody. Today I claim a day of heaven on earth.
Putting that one on the list. I even put that one down. See, that's where I think that I would love to be with you guys more.
Sure.
Inspired, because I don't know if I'm in a rut or
well, you come to a good place.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It like gets you a chance to go, oh, I'll try that one next.
Right. Well, you know what? We all learn from each other.
Right.
And we can recognize ourselves in others too. Say, oh, well, I do that too. And so you can make an adjustment.
Well, I love the idea of being able to work with both of you and to learn more from you.
Well, thank you.
And again, the EFT, we didn't get to sample any of it for people, but I think that you'll see the more that you get a chance to look at the website and possibly get the book.
Yeah, and we could do that another time, but I also have a good description in there, and as I said, the recording. So the recording is like getting the book for free.
Right.
Yeah, it really is.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. This is like a user manual for
that's great.
Being empowered in this consciousness.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. It's really been a pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you. And I can't wait to make sure everybody sees this and gets a chance to learn more about what you do and who you are and how this is my personal life mission is to help as many people wake up to their divinity as possible. And so that's why I'm so excited about this book.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And it really is. It was a labor of love putting it together and getting it out there. And we hope that people really find value in it and change and find easy ways to change, easy ways to enjoy life rather than being burdened with it.
Well, you can buy this one book and throw out 6.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered too. We have a sale right now going on in this book. So here's prosperity. You get 30% off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a 30% off sale. So go to moneyisanenergygame.com. It's 30% off the paper copy, the hard copy. Otherwise, you can also get a Kindle copy, which is
but I would rather have the book anytime.
Oh, me too. Yeah. But you can get it for a great price now, 30% off.
Oh, great! Thank you so much. Well, what a delight it is to meet you, and
same here, Kathy. Yes,
we'll get to play again soon. I hope.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.